So it is Thursday, January 7th. I got basically nothing done all week. It's the last week of the semester. We're trying to wrap up grades and assignments, and I've been conferencing. So I did get some hand sewing done earlier during one of my meetings. I hand sewed some of the hoops to the tapes. I'm still working on that. Then I got the Joann's delivery right before I went to go pick up Emma. And so this evening I finished sewing the fur trim onto the bottom of the underskirt. I'm going to put that on Daisy along with the overskirt. And then I might try, I think I'm going to lay out the faux fur trim along the bodice just to see if it'll go around. I do have 2 spools of it just because I would rather have too much than not enough. So if I need to use the other spool, I can do that. I would like to be able to do it all in one continuous piece, so that's fine. I am probably going to use the scraps of this and the leftover for ridiculous, stupid, bejeweled mask. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hang these on the dress form now and pin the faux fur trim, and then I'm going to go to bed. I'm not going to sew anything else tonight because I do need to hand sew the faux fur trim to the bodice because this would be eaten by my sewing machine. So that's what I'm going to do. And I will show you what I get done before I go to bed. There she is with the fur trim. It is just pinned onto the bodice. I was trying to decide if I was going to roll it over at all, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. And then I will hand sew it down on both edges. I'm going to start with this outside edge, and then I'll do the inside edge. And I'll do that over the next couple of days, probably the weekend. Hopefully I will have it done at a reasonable time. I'll be working on this tomorrow during family movie night because then I won't be attacking Emma with the hoops and the hoop skirt. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then so we'll be working on this tomorrow during family movie night, and hopefully it'll be done so I can flip it back out and sew the bottom part of the bodice here. And then I can attach the bottom part of the sleeves that are waiting to be gathered, and they'll go on here, like roughly like that. Da-da-da. And then the finishing will be done. Like, it'll be wearable. It'll just be figuring out the bow situation and the styling the wig and oh, I have to insert the zipper. Yeah. Well, you know, that'll be an adventure. Let's go over to the board and have a look. So this is where we are. Sew down the hoops. I am still working on that. It's a slow process, but that's all hand sewing. Attach the faux fur to the underskirt. I have the faux fur now, and that's done. Attach the faux fur to the bodice. Again, that's hand sewing. That'll be a slow process. Sew the bottom of the bodice. I have to wait to do that. Attach the sleeves. Again, I have to wait. Insert the zipper. I have to wait. Paint the overskirt. The paint is here, kind of, so I need Zach to help me figure out that situation. The front and the hair bow, I'm going to be looking for that on Etsy. Sew the hoop skirt petticoat. That's an eventual thing. And then the stretch goal is to style the wig. Because I have a wig. I don't know what kind of state it's in. It's in a grocery bag in a closet. So I'll have to have a look at that if I feel so inclined. But yeah, so that's where we are. I'm gonna wait to even think about styling the wig until I've figured out the bow situation, because the point of styling the wig would be to attach the bow, and if I can just do all of that in one fell swoop, that's great. So that's where we are. I was able to cross something off of the to-do list. Yay! And I am halfway done sewing down hoops. I have 3.5 done, and I have 3.5 left. So, because there's the center back, and there are 2 side back, center back, 2 side back, 2 side front, and 2 front. So there are 7, so I have 3.5 are done. So I'm exactly halfway through. So we should be able to make some progress. If I can get this and maybe this done this weekend, I will be a happy camper. That would be a bonus goal. But these 2 are my goal for the weekend. Oh, thank God tomorrow's Friday. It is Friday, January 8th. There was a coup on Wednesday, an attempted coup, and yesterday I didn't feel a whole lot like sewing, and today, because it's Friday, it was family movie night, so I went ahead and I sewed this on here, the fur trim, which means, so it's sewed down on the top. You can see it's not particularly pretty stitching, but it's mostly covered by the fur, so it's fine. I will, once the bodice is done, be going in and sewing down the bottom part, because honestly it wants to flip up, and that's not what I want. So I will be sewing down the bottom part eventually, but the goal of sewing this along the top part was just so that I could flip it inside out and pull taut and match up where the bottom of the velvet meets the bottom of the lining, and have it be a little bit more secure when I was pinning it, and not have it be like all roly-poly up here, which it was, and it's not anymore. So that was the plan. That has been achieved. That is successful, which means we can go over here and where's my black marker? There it is. We can go over here and do that. Hooray! And the peasants rejoiced. And so did I. I still have the hoops that I am working on sewing down. But the next task tomorrow is to sew the bottom of the bodice. Because if I can sew the bottom of the bodice, then I can attach the sleeves and insert the zipper in whichever order I decide I want to do it. I will probably attach the bottom of the bodice and to itself, and then attach the sleeves, and then do the zipper last, just because the zipper has me more nervous than the sleeves at this point. And then I have been shopping for this situation. I have not found something. I've been looking on Etsy. I've not found anything that I like. I found one that was so close, but it was a green and navy plaid tartan pattern with gold trim on either side. And I have literally zero green in this costume, and I think it would just be super obvious. So I think this and this can both reasonably be attained this weekend. This scares me, so if I get to it, awesome. If not, I'm not worried about it. And then this, I'm waiting on materials. This, I need Zach to help me figure out, and then we can look at materials for this. So, since I am close to completing this, I have started looking at what's next over here. And for me, what makes the most sense is the American Duchess cape, because I have the fabric, I have the lining fabric, I have the pattern, it's cut out. That makes the most sense, right? This is where my energy is leaning. This blue wool dress. This is what I want to work on. This is what makes more sense and will take less time and will be ostensibly easier, but this is what I want to do. Happy Saturday. It is January 9th. Happy birthday to my work bestie, Nancy. I wanted to show you what we are working on here. So I've got the bodice on the dress form inside out with the right sides together because I need to sew this bottom seam together. And I have pinned her up top, and you can see the top seam is laying real nicely from where I hand stitched the fur trim on there, so that it's not rolling or pulling or sliding, because there's that fur trim there that's been stitched down with the seam allowance. And then I pinned it to the back, and then I just went around and I lined up. I started at the center front, and I smoothed the fabric out across here, and I pinned it, and then I pinned it at the seams, and I went all the way around in either direction to pin it together. And now I'm going to take it off of Daisy and see if I need to trim anything, and then I'm going to very slowly and carefully pin base the rest of the bottom, and I'm just gonna whack it through the sewing machine with the walking foot because I'm ready for this part to be over. I'm gonna turn it right sides out before I clip the seam allowance, just to make sure that it looks okay, but then I will turn it right sides out and see how it looks, and then be able to attach the sleeves and do the zipper in the back, which I'm dreading, and then the bodice should be done except for hand sewing the bottom of the fur collar on. And then we need to finish the hoop skirt and make a petticoat. So we're close. And we do need to figure out the paint situation. But that bottle of paint, that is the wrong color, that was shipped to me, that's sitting right there, needs to be returned, and we need the correct color before we can, well, we can probably start working on it, but I'd like to have another one just in case, because I think we're going to use a lot of the blue. But anyway, I'm going to go take care of the bodice, and I'll check in a little bit. I said I was going to pin baste this. Did I just hand baste it because I have zero faith in what's about to happen when I put it through the sewing machine? Yes I did. But I also did that because I realized that this side is shorter than the velvet side in most sections. And this is the side where I can see where the boning is. And I don't really fancy bending another needle, so I'd like to be able to see where the boning is. So, we're going to try this. Say a prayer. I'll check in when it's done. So that's done. I am going to go ahead and put on the bodice, or the corset and the bodice, and see what this looks like on. Yeah, I am seeing that I'm gonna need to hand stitch that down. It'll be okay. I'll just use some really tiny understitching by hand, which means there's more hand sewing in this project. That's fine. So that is there. I'm going to try it on and see what it looks like, because Daisy's having a hard time with this being longer. I want to make sure it sits the way it's supposed to. So we just sewed the bottom of the bodice and we tried it on to make sure it wasn't too short when I stitched and clipped it. So that's done. The lining keeps wanting to flip out. This is the front, and the lining fabric keeps wanting to do this and roll outwards. So I'm going to have to go in and do some hand stitching along the edge, but that's fine. So that's done. And now I get the fun task of either inserting the zipper or attaching the sleeves. And I think I'm going to attach the sleeves first because the zipper is stressing me out. And oddly enough, the sleeves are not the thing that scare me at this point because it's just gathering this and attaching it to the base sleeve that's already attached to the bodice. So that's not hard. The zipper's gonna be hard because this velvet's not gonna want to sew a zipper. But huzzah! Alright, so it is evening and I have the bottom part of the sleeves attached to the outside of the bodice. Let's see if we can get some light, so you can see something, maybe. There we go. Yeah, you can see it now. Okay, you can see the seam there where it's sewn on, and now I need to hand sew the lining over this stitching so this raw edge is hidden in here. So I've got hand sewing to do on both of those. I've got hand sewing to do to tack down the bottom of the fur to the bodice. I've got hand sewing to do around the bottom. And I went to tackle the next thing on the list, which is the zipper. And the zipper that I have is not a separating zipper. I didn't look closely enough at it. It's an invisible zipper, but it's a stopped zipper, which would mean that the dress wouldn't unzip all the way, or the top wouldn't unzip all the way, and that's not gonna work. I need to be able to have it open all the way and separate so that I can get in it. So I just ordered from Joann's for curbside pickup. I just ordered a separating zipper. It's gonna be black because they had black and white and pink were my options, so we went with black. It's close enough. This obviously shows up as fairly black. It's dark, it's navy. I also ordered the navy ribbon with the gold trim off of Amazon, which is not ideal, but it was that or I was gonna pay like $50 on Etsy for the same ribbon effectively. Wasn't gonna do that. I will pay $10 to Amazon. So yeah, that's where we are. I have a whole bunch of hand sewing. I need to pick up a zipper, hopefully tomorrow, and I need to wait for the ribbon to arrive. And then we're done? Well, we have to paint. But I'm not the only one who has to help figure that situation out. So my part of that will be done. Zach's gonna help me figure out how to paint the fabric.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be an adventure. Are we gonna try to do a stencil on the Cricut?
I have to look at the source chart again.
Okay.
That might be, I don't know about doing it on the Cricut. I might print something out that I can do a light board trace on with chalk. Because I'm thinking chalk rather than trying to trust any adhesive to come off all the way from the fabric.
Fair enough. Also, surprise, I forgot to mention this to you earlier. There's a painted pattern on the velvet bodice.
NANI?!
Velvet. That'll be fun! Thanks, Mattel, for doing that to Barbie. When you don't have to make it in the real world, you can do whatever you want with it.
We're gonna have a good time. Anyway, so I'm gonna figure out what I'm doing next because Zach is editing a video, so I want to hang out in here with him, but I don't have any more machine sewing to do, so I may be moving on to the next project at this point so that I can like be in here and hang out with him, because hand sewing is stuff that I want to do on the couch while we watch shows. So anyway, that's where I am. I will check in if I feel like I have anything to report. All right, you ready? Here it comes.
Seriously, why did I put those files?
Hooray! Now to figure out what over here I'm working on. And if you're screaming at me from home, do this. I don't have enough fabric. That requires a purchase. That's gonna have to wait. Stuff over here, I have fabric for. We'll see. So Zach and I just previewed the video. He's over there making some final edits. It looks good. And then I've decided what it is that I am working on. Before I start another project, I have got to clean this room. That's our current snackage. But like half of the table is covered in other stuff, and there's a mountain of mock-up fabric and other things and stuff all over the floor.
The office
That
is a
situation.
work in progress.
And there are stickers. You can see
Toddler footprints.
Jasmine. And yeah, so there's chaos happening. However, Zach did just assemble the bookshelf, so we got rid of the boxes that were stacked there, which is real nice because it actually, you know, feels a little bit more like we live here and less like we are, you know, moving again, which we're not.
Yeah, and it's not collapsing the box with all my art books.
Yeah. So they're out and they're actually able to be accessed and the box isn't dying. So that's good. But yeah, so that is my task. That is what I'm going to be working on this evening. Yeah. And then that'll give me some time to get the zipper because I should be able to pick that up tomorrow, and then I can actually finish the stuff that is on the list. Insert the zipper before I actually start something else, which, you know, finishing one thing and starting a new project with a clean room would be nice. It is Sunday afternoon and we have some success. I have acquired, through much rigmarole that required me to actually go into the store, a separating zipper. 16-inch separating zipper. That's probably too long, but it'll be fine. I will make it work. And the only thing that went through on my pre-order, or on my curbside pickup order, was the appropriate color paint. It's the folk art bluebell. And I did check the fabric painting medium, and it is a 2 parts paint to 1 part fabric medium ratio. So I've got 1 bottle for 2 bottles of blue and 1 bottle for 2 bottles of gold. So that should be fine. That should give us quite a bit to work with. We have some fabric to test on, and then Zach is gonna help me figure out how to make that happen. So yeah, and then last night I was cleaning. I started sorting. I'm gonna look, you can actually see organized space. Isn't it great? So all of that got cleared off. Behind Daisy got cleared off. There is still the nap mat materials are stacked back there, as is the abandoned pagoda sleeved blouse bodice that I was working on because I started losing weight and it kept not fitting the way I wanted it to, so I stopped. The mock-up fit, and then I started losing weight, and then it didn't fit when I made the real one. So you can see, like, there's actually free space here, and I've been going through and sorting my scraps. So in the World Market bag there, I've got tiny scraps that are not good for anything else, and in the big bin, I should have big scraps. I have to go through the big bin still. So this side is clean. You can see I have a pile of scraps there that need to go in the bottom bin because I still have to sort through the bottom bin and make sure that the little scraps are out of there. So this is all clean and orderly, and I did sweep So now I have to deal with that, which is just there's a pile of scrap fabric. So I have to deal with that. And then probably before I start working on another project, I will need to sort out the situation with Emma's desk, because it is also a mess. And her birthday is coming, which means she's acquiring more things. The room is clean. You can see that yeah, my side is clean. Have located Daisy back where she belongs. There's no bin of batting over there with a giant eruption of scrap fabric out of the trash can. All of that has been sorted and managed, and I've swept, and I have gotten down on my hands and knees and scraped all of the stickers off of the floor. So help me. So yeah, that's clean. And now I am working on, I do need to do something with my scrap bin, because whole buckets, it's overflowing. Oh, that's fun. I'll show you in a second. What I wanted to show you is the way that I'm installing this zipper, because it's following zero instructions from anyone or from any of the packaging like recommendations. And it's just because this velvet is heckin' annoying. So what I'm doing is I am top stitching the zipper to the lining so that I can then take the velvet and fold it over and hand stitch it over the zipper so that it covers the zipper. Because, you can't, wow. Hello, there we go. You can see the zipper. But yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. And hopefully it works. I'm concerned that there's not enough like structural integrity in the velvet to hold the zipper. So I want most of the pressure for the zipper to be on the lining. We'll find out what happens when I sew it in. So it is the end of the day, and I just wanted to check in and show you what I got done. Emma woke up and I had to finish the zipper while she was awake. I put in the zipper-ish, so I have stitched the zipper right at the edge. I just pinned it on top of the lining and then stitched it down, which is completely backwards from the way that you're supposed to do this. I haven't done anything with this yet because in order to get the lining to lay right, this no longer goes on Daisy. In order to get the lining to lay correctly, or the fashion fabric to lay correctly, to pin it, to figure out where I need to hand sew it, I have to put it on, and I didn't feel like putting the corset on tonight because it's on the dress form, covered up by skirts. I don't feel like it. So instead, I have been working on the sleeves. So these have to be sewn in. So this one is stitched down. You can see the lining of the top part is stitched over that raw edge connecting the top part of the sleeve to the bell part of the sleeve. And what I did here, you can kind of see I did a back stitch to stitch the seam allowance down, so that's all stitched down. And I didn't need to, but I wanted to practice the back stitch, like for hand stitching. And then I just whip stitched that down. And doing the back stitch along the edge to stitch the seam allowance down just gave me a nice consistent folded clean edge to stitch down. And then, I know it's velvet so you can't even really tell, but like the stitches from the outside are, oh, there are two that you can see there. But they're mostly invisible, they're hidden. So that's what that looks like on the inside. It's all nice and finished, no raw edges, which is good because this shenanigans is happening everywhere. I'm gonna pack my school bag so that I can go to bed, so that I can go give an exam tomorrow. I might be able to come home and do some grading and then maybe get 30 minutes of sewing done before I have to go get Emma. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens. If nothing else, I will get a lot of hand sewing done this week because I will need something to occupy my mind and my hands just enough. It's on! And I'm trapped in this corner because the ironing board is right there and my circumference is now too great to make it that far. Couple of things. Zach has pinned the velvet to the zipper so that I can hand sew it down. I have discovered that, and I kind of suspected this, the overskirt's waistband is too long, so I just need to adjust it and move the hook and bar so that it fastens a little bit tighter. And we've measured for the bow that's going to go here at the point.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
It's gonna be ridiculous. It's like 36 inches of just tail per side, and then 8 inches of bow. And yeah, that's
tail.
That's the tail. This sits here, and it goes basically to the fur trim at the bottom. So. All the way to the bottom. That's great. Oh yeah! This bit's done. All the bits are sewn down. It looks good. I did use the black thread that was in the sewing machine to finish the bottom of it. So it looks a little janky, but no one's gonna see it except for you guys. When I wear it out, no one's gonna know. If you see my cage crinoline out and about at a con, someone's getting their tail kicked or there's a huge problem.
Probably me because I helped you get into it.
Yeah. So that's where we are. What do I need to do left? We have to paint. I have to adjust. And there's like a little tuck that I need to take here to make this lay properly. So I just pin that down. I do need to stitch around the edge to make the lining fabric not show on the outside, but that has to wait. I also have to stitch down the fur collar bit. And I am wearing a t-shirt under this. It fits great. I have reasonably good mobility. Theoretically, when I'm wearing this, I won't be attempting to pick up a tiny human. So, I hope. But yeah, so that's where we are. I think we're in a good spot. And she's done. I sewed the fur down on the top and on the bottom, all the way around. You really can't see that. I hand stitched the velvet around the zipper. You can totally see the zipper. Not really worried. Hand stitched the fur. Hopefully it doesn't get caught in the zipper. It'll be fine. Yeah. She still needs paint and a bow. And I think I'm going to do those in the paint video. Because I'm going to do the bow last. Because the bow's real easy. We're just going to make the bow and I'm going to tack it on there. But I want to do the paint first. Because I feel like the bow's just going to get in the way of the paint. And the paint on the sleeves. But yeah, she is finished.